If you're anything like me, no matter what mood you're in, you can always appreciate a good bog standard work truck, which is what we have here. This is a 2018 GMC Canyon, and it is in the base level trim, meaning a couple things. Number one, it is absolutely the most basic that you can get in the North American continent when it comes to drivetrain, and that means 2.5 liter Ecotec 4-cylinder engine underneath the hood with just about 180 horsepower. That's just enough, which is paired to a 6-speed manual transmission that sends power to the rear wheels only. This is a breed that doesn't really exist anymore. You can't really get a bog standard 3-pedal manual transmission 2-wheel drive work truck in the United States anymore anyway, because Americans rely mostly on their trucks for comfort or family purposes, and even when they want to settle for a work truck, something that they can take to and from the market, put some 2x4 in the back, they still like to have a nice radio setup, they still like to have 4-wheel drive, they still like to have an automatic transmission. So this, I think, is one of, if not the very last true to its form, thoroughbred work truck that was available in the United States. The GMC Canyon is twinned with the Chevrolet Colorado, and for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be talking about the North American version. There was a world market version of the Chevrolet Colorado, the Holden Colorado, and the GMC Canyon that was available in other markets where a utilitarian truck means more to people than something that you just use to take your kids to school in. So the North American version of these second generation GMC Canyon and Chevrolet Colorado pickup trucks had a couple changes to make them a little bit more better suited to American taste. Number one is that they look a little bit more like their bigger brothers, in this case the GMC Sierra, the full-size pickup truck that people that buy a GMC Canyon really want. And the steel frame is quite a lot longer than the European version, and the engines are different, but they still did offer a 2.8 liter Duramax diesel engine in these things, which, as far as I know, wasn't ever paired with the 6-speed manual, unfortunately. At least in the GMC Canyon, the 6-speed manual died after the 2018 model year. So like I said, this is the last proper work truck, bog standard, basic truck that you could buy from GMC. So let's take a review type tour of this base level 2018 GMC Canyon. Before I show you the minimal features of this basic GMC Canyon, let's talk through a little bit of GMC midsize pickup truck history. Are you ready, kids? Okay. I'm not going to talk about anything up until this truck's direct predecessor, the Chevrolet S10, and what was the GMC version of it called? I actually can't remember. I gotta look it up. The Sonoma. Snappy name. Very memorable. The direct predecessor of this truck is the GMC Sonoma, which was paired with the Chevrolet S10. And that was the mid-level, mid-size truck that you could buy from General Motors in the 1990s. I say mid-size, but it was quite small by modern standards. And then moving into the 2000s, General Motors decided that they would rebrand the mid-size pickup truck, so they came out with the first generation Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon, which were twinned with the Isuzu I-Series pickup trucks, which is a quite rare, quite basic work truck version of the Chevrolet and GMC. For the people that don't really want to spend all that much money for a fancy Chevrolet, they want an Isuzu instead. If you want to go that low down in the fiscal food chain, you could do that. But then after the first generation was over, the second generation had no Isuzu version, but there was still a GMC and a Chevrolet. And they also started to branch out with a luxury version of the GMC Canyon called the GMC Canyon Denali, but we're not talking about luxury here. I'm looking in here at a bed with absolutely no bed cover to remind me that this is not the luxury version of this pickup truck. Luxury is a bad word on today's video. So let's talk about body styles. This GMC Canyon was offered in 3 different body configurations. You could have this, which is the extended cab with a 6.2 foot long bed, or if you wanted 4 full-size doors, you could step up to the crew cab with a 5.2 foot bed, or if you wanted all of the above, you could get the 4-door version with a 6.2 foot bed. You could also get a V6 engine, you could get a Duramax diesel like I mentioned before, and of course most of these GMC Canyons and Colorados had four-wheel drive, but this one doesn't. As far as I can tell, the only option on this pickup truck right here are the 16-inch alloy wheels, which are nice looking, and I think it kind of spoils the theme because this is nearly a completely basic bare bones truck. Around the back of the GMC Canyon base, and what is the most important thing when it comes to a super basic work truck is you need a nice long bed where you can carry, doesn't matter, it's a cheap work truck. I can throw saws in there, I could throw acid in there, I could throw a nuclear bomb in there. Like, I could do literally anything I want because it's a work truck. The sky is the limit. Put whatever you want back there, as long as it doesn't scratch up the bed, because there's no bed lining. That is for luxury pickup truck buyers only. This is just more white paint, and luckily it's not too scuffed up in this truck here. And let's check one more luxury feature that some trucks have. Some trucks have a complicated tailgate arrangement where it's a split door that opens like a regular car door. Some trucks have stairs that come out of the tailgate itself, and some trucks have fully automated, fully electronic tailgates. This one, it's got a door that opens. You pull the lever and you try to keep your fingers out of the way before it slams down with all of its weight. But you get my point. You just have to hold its weight down so that it doesn't slam too hard. And if you want to get up in the bed, you just got to do it right here. You probably can't see me at the moment, but you get the idea. You have to be quite athletic and not have too much hurt knees to be able to get in the back of this truck here. Like I said, very, very utilitarian, very basic. It's just a truck bed. As you can see, there is no bed lining, no lights, there's no storage area, there's no cigarette style outlet for charging devices back here. There is nothing to make your truck experience any more comfortable back here, and that is one of the many things I love about this truck. And when it comes to truck type stuff, this base level Canyon can tow up to 3,500 pounds with its 2.5 liter four-cylinder, which is, for a truck, not very good. But if you wanted more, you could step up to the V6 with a 7,000 pound tow rating, or the Duramax diesel with a 7,700 pound rating. There's actually quite a gap between the base level trim and the larger engines when it comes to towing capacity in this truck. But 3,500 pounds should be enough for a couple of people. Let's hop inside. Let's now step in the 2018 GMC Canyon base, shall we? But before we do that, you might notice that typically in my videos, I start in the back seat and then move to the front. And this truck does indeed have one of those half rear door flap sort of things. It is the extended cab after all, but I'm not really sure what it's here for because this truck doesn't have any back seats. This is strictly a two-seater truck right here. If I open this flap door and I press on this and I move the seat forward, I'm met with a rubber floor and plastic on where the backrest would be, but not an actual rear seat back here, which is a little bit unusual. Trucks of this size and this body configuration typically do have tiny rear seats that you can use back there if you absolutely have to. This one doesn't, and to be honest, owing to my size, 6'3", I'm not too upset about not having to squeeze myself in back there. So let's just go right in to the front seat of this truck, and I can already hear your comments. Well, back in my day, trucks didn't have any of those comfort features. Back in my day, you had to pay extra for paint and air in your tires. Yes, and that's a good point. If you take a base level pickup truck from 2018, such as this GMC Canyon, and you compare it to a base level work truck from the 1960s or the 1970s, then yeah, there are some very, very nice to have, very impressive creature comforts up here, some that I didn't even expect. These seats, I believe they're vinyl, but they look like leather. They can almost pass as leather, not quite, but they They at least tried to make them look leathery. But speaking on the seats, this driver's seat right here actually has a power forward and backward function. It's not power for tilting the backrest back. You can't have everything. But there is a surprising amount of electrical adjustment in this driver's seat right here. On the passenger side, as you'd expect, it's fully manual. And what is also fully manual, directing your attention to the middle, we have a 6-speed manual transmission. Once again, this is the last year of the 6-speed manual option in the GMC Canyon. After that, it was automatic only, because that's what people typically want these days, even from a work truck. They don't want to be rowing through their own gears in a pickup truck as much. The only pickup truck in 2025, I believe, that offers a manual transmission is the Toyota Tacoma. I've done a video of a Tacoma. It's linked on the screen right now. And I think the Jeep Gladiator used to, but I want to say that they canceled it for a recent model year. So only one truck still offers it today, which honestly is quite surprising that anyone offers it at all. And as you can see, it is an authentic manual transmission in a pickup truck, meaning that it comes out really far and it comes out towards the driver. And when you turn the truck on, it does a little wiggle. Honestly, 100% of the time you're driving down the road in this pickup truck, that knob is wiggling all the time. Giggity. And another thing about this 6-speed manual is that it has the most gargantuan shift boot I've ever seen in my entire life. It takes up like the entire center console area. It is a vast amount of space that has been devoted just to this manual transmission. But I'm a firm believer, like I've said in many videos, that manuals make everything better. And as you can see, it's here even with a really clunky feel. As you'd expect, it's not a very nice to use manual, but it's there. You've got 3 pedals. You actually have 4 pedals down there. There's the traditional gas, brake, and clutch pedal, but there's also a foot-mounted parking brake, which makes life in the footwell down there a little bit too busy. One complaint that I have is that when I'm just driving along, just coasting along, I don't have anywhere to put my left foot because there's a clutch and a foot-mounted parking brake right there, which owes to the whole this is a truck for work, it's not a truck for comfort idea. But when it comes to comfort, you do have air conditioning that blows ice cold, and you do have a 4.6-inch, I believe, touchscreen right up here that operates with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto if you want it, which is very nice to see. And a traditional analog gauge cluster with a little digital gauge in the center that can be configured to show various things like your speed or your oil life or your basic trip computer information, which is nice that it's there. It's black and white. You can't have full color on a truck like this, of course, but as you can see, you do have a screen in there that provides you information, which is nice. But to use it, you don't have buttons on the steering wheel like what you'd expect from a luxury vehicle. You have to operate some random buttons and switches that are mounted on the turn signal stock. So that might take a little bit of getting used to, but it's no big deal. So inside this trunk, it is a combination of there is more comfort than you'd expect, but it's still quite basic, quite utilitarian, and there's not a lot of comfort in here, but it's just enough comfort features to make this thing a usable, bearable, tolerable, everyday vehicle. So that's nice. And with that being said, let's take this truck out on the road and see how it drives. Okay, let's take this GMC Canyon out on the road. As you'd expect, this part of the video isn't gonna be that entertaining or fun, if any part of this video is entertaining or fun. I just think this is a cool truck and I like it. So I've got this very basic GMC key, just the key. No fob is provided, at least with this GMC Canyon. Foot down on the clutch, turn the key, and the gear knob wobbles as the truck roars to life, all 180 horsepower of it, which is not a lot. Very much not a lot, actually. It is actually a very minuscule amount of power for a vehicle of this weight, but this is just something that you use for work. You're not using this as an everyday truck to take your family to school in. You're not using this truck on super long distance road trips unless you have to. You just use this thing for work when you need to haul some stuff, basically. All right, let's hit it. Let's see what this 2.5 liter Ecotec has to offer. 40, 50. Yeah, it's not very fast. This is probably one of the slowest cars we've featured on this channel. And when you open it up, yes, it's nice that you can run through the gears, but the sound isn't good. The power delivery certainly isn't good. The gear shifter feels quite clunky. Again, it's not a nice manual transmission. This is just a basic manual from the days of the manual was the cost-saving option, and not from the days of the manual as the enthusiast option. This manual wasn't intended to be enjoyable. It was intended to just be there and not fall apart. And to that end, this clutch is okay as well. The pedal comes up quite high, so it's a little bit uncomfortable to use if you've got long legs, but it's okay. And then again, my left foot has nowhere to go because there's a foot-mounted parking brake right here, and then the clutch pedal's right next to it, so I kind of just have to fold it up like this. And the ride quality isn't very good. It's just not super nice to drive, but that's what you'd expect. I mean, this is a work truck. This is simple, and that's what I love about it. I just love these simple, bare bones trucks with the manuals, with the two-wheel drive, that are only used for one single purpose, just for work. And that makes them kind of charming, the way they bounce around and lumber themselves down the road. I've always enjoyed driving trucks like this. I don't know why. They just have a certain charm to them that isn't really replicated in nicer trucks that most people buy now. But this one, as a work truck, like I said, has quite a lot of pretty impressive equipment for what you'd expect. It's got ice cold air conditioning. I've got power windows right here, power locks. Honestly, when you compare it to super basic vehicles of old or vehicles right now in other markets, it's got quite a lot of pretty good tech and pretty good features, and it's not too bad. You could probably live with this thing every day, but again, it's not the most pleasant vehicle to drive. It surely is not the easiest vehicle to drive. It's not the softest. It's not the smoothest. Again, it's a work truck. I'm going to end this video there. Hope you enjoyed the simple joys of a nice, basic GMC Canyon. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube stuff. Bye-bye.